Hi, this is Indira and welcome to my show. Today I have an amazing lineup of guests, so take a look at this. I have with me today the most amazing magician ever, and sitting in front of me here is Mr. Jamie Raven. Welcome, Jamie. I am so thrilled to have you on this show.
Thank you for having me.
Now tell me, was magic something you always wanted to do?
Do you know, when I was young, magic didn't really interest me, and it's a shame to say.
Really?
Do you know, originally when I first started learning tricks, it was card tricks, because specifically I had an interest in card games and learning how to cheat at card games, and I thought if you could become good at cheating at card games, you didn't really need to know the rules, you just need to know what hands would win, and then you could sort of play with your friends and you could win. That was my original interest. And a friend of mine bought me a book on various different ways you could cheat when you play card games, and at the back of it,
I didn't know they read books like that.
Yeah, you can find them. You've got to look hard, but you can find them. And at the very end, there was a trick. One of them, and it was a magic trick, and it was a mathematical-based magic trick with cards, and you deal them out in certain orders, and then a certain card comes to the top, and that was it. I knew one trick.
Britain's Got Talent. Now everyone wants to know the story behind that.
Yeah, so I entered Britain's Got Talent in 2015, and it was the 9th year that the show was in operation. And I'd been approached a number of times by the people who run the show to go on and asked if I'd be interested in doing it. And I'd always said no. Originally it was that I wasn't sure whether what I did would sort of be suitable. And then I remember watching it and not really thinking that magicians got like a fair crack of the whip.
Oh my goodness.
But then what happened was, in America, a gentleman called Matt Franco won America's Got Talent. And it was the first time in America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent that a magician had won. And America's Got Talent is 6 months older than Britain's Got Talent. So if you want to know what's going to do well on Britain's Got Talent, just have a little look and see what happened on America's Got Talent. You might have a clue. And he won, and I thought, well, do you know what? I don't think I'll win, but I'll go. And I remember I did my audition. It was February the 15th at the Dominion Theatre, Tottenham Court Road, just over there. And I remember it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I walked out and I did my tricks. And 6 minutes later, Simon Cowell said, "I now actually believe in magic."
Yes,
and I remember,
I did read that quote.
It was amazing. And I remember thinking to myself, if that doesn't get me a free haircut, nothing will. Nothing will. And years later, here we are.
Oh, what was it like with the judges? Were they really easygoing, or was it really stressful?
Do you know what? The whole process is stressful. I think there's different levels of stress for different people who do it for different reasons. So if you, let's say you work in a shop, but you're a really good singer, but you've never done a live performance before, that's where the stress comes from, because you've never done it before. I was slightly different because I was doing it for a living. I had done it for 12 years already at that point. So obviously you get excited when you do shows, but for me it was more the case of, if I go on there and if it doesn't work or they don't like me, my career sort of set back a few years, because the people that are watching it are going to think, well, why would we want to book that guy? He's clearly no good. So that was the sort of stress that I was under.
Oh gosh, of course.
But then I thought to myself, do you know what, I'll just go and do it, and if they like it, they like it, and that'd be amazing. If they don't like it, I'll just say, well, thank you for the opportunity.
Who doesn't like magic?
Exactly, that's exactly my thought.
You've got to believe in magic. Now tell me about the Shaftesbury Theatre.
Yeah, so
the Illusionist.
Yeah, so the reason why I did Britain's Got Talent in the first place was that I'd been earning a living professionally doing shows for 12 years, and I loved it, and I love it. But I'd sort of reached a level that I couldn't really get above anymore, because no one knew who I was. If I was to go into a theatre and try and do a show, probably no one would come, because they didn't know who I was. So to do theatre shows, you need to sell tickets. To do that, you need a bit of a profile, and one of the ways you can do that is to get on television. And
of course,
Britain's Got Talent is, whatever you think of the programme, is the quickest way, I promise you, of raising your profile from here to up here. And to give you an example, on February the 15th, I auditioned for the show, 2015, and then on November the 14th, I was headlining a show in the West End called The Illusionist, and that went on to break the box office record at the Shaftesbury Theatre for a limited run, and I believe it's going in the Guinness Book of Records. I think it's for an 8.5-week run. I think there was more tickets sold, more money made in that show than any other magical show in British theatre history, which is amazing.
Well, I can't let you go without showing me a few tricks now. At least one.
Would be my pleasure. I'd absolutely love to. I have a gift for you. It's something, we'll say I've borrowed from the kitchen downstairs, just to make sure it's the same one we're dealing with the whole time. Could I trouble you for your autograph? Could I ask you just to sign your name across the handle of the fortress there? Because in doing so, it gets your fingerprints all over it, and it rids any blame from my shoulders squarely onto yours. Thank you very much. And if you could just wave it up and down just for a second so the ink dries. It takes about 45 minutes usually. Oh, we're good. We're good. It's the game. if I just hold up to the camera just so you can see your name just there, guys, we've got it. Here's the game. I'm going to wave this very slowly from side to side. You take as long as you like. I just need you to say stop. Please don't listen to me. Don't listen to any of the guys here. Whenever you're ready, just say stop. That's all I ask.
Stop?
Perfect.
Oh my.
Can you see that? Now, of course, the problem with this, people will assume it's not really metal. Could you just push down on the top for me? Just that's pretty solid, so you can feel that. Well, we'll go again. A bigger circle, a bigger bend. Whenever you like, just say stop for me. Say stop.
Stop.
Perfect. And of course, the problem now, people assume it's not the same one anymore. That's why we asked for the writing. If you can see, definitely your signature.
That's mine. That's mine.
Show the camera again. If I straighten this up, may I borrow your right hand for a second?
Sure.
Could you imagine you're holding a drink for me? If I come to you, that's it. And then if you could just squeeze for me, squeeze my fingers, squeeze my thumb, like a fist. That's great. I'm going to take my thumb out. Oh, nice.
Sorry.
Don't worry about Herculean strength, just broken my thumb. Incredible. Can you feel that twisting around?
Yeah.
Guys, if you have a look on the camera, you'll see it's now actually twisted. Can you see? All the way through the middle. And,
oh my God.
And the best part about this, if you want to keep it with your name as well, you can forever on one condition. When I count to 3, could you blow very gently just in my general direction just for 2 seconds? On 3, 1, 2, 3, blow. A bit more. Stop. Perfect.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Could you do me a favour? With your index finger, could you just point down the camera just there for me? That's okay. All we're going to do, bring your finger in. You're just going to rub very gently just here for me. Just rub the top there. Just gently, gently. Takes a second. Rub, rub. And if you look at your name, you'll see it starts to twitch. Keep going. Starts to twitch. Bends up. And this is my gift for you to use at the buffet later.
Thank you. I can
welcome.
have 4 different snacks at one
Absolutely.
time.
If you pretend you and Keller did that, sell it on eBay,
amazing.
you'll make a fortune.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
It's been lovely having you here, and I should see you at your show now.
I look forward to it. Make sure you bring your fork this time.
I will. Just in case I get a canopy or 4.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Pleasure.
My second guest on the show, I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome and introduce the very glamorous, the very flamboyant, and the extremely talented Patti Page. Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
Patti, you have done so much with your life. I don't even know where to start. I've had to use notes because I couldn't
I've been
remember
around 100
everything.
years, darling. That's the problem.
No, that's not true. I'll tell you what, I was reading over your biog and I was astounded, and I said, this is going to take me a week to learn. So I'm just going to keep my glasses on. You've achieved a lot. Now, is singing your biggest passion, or?
Oh, well, singing has kind of opened doors for me.
Yeah.
And obviously singing is like food of the soul and the spirit.
Absolutely.
So I love it, you know. So when things get really bad, I go back to my singing. Because I'm one of those, I do too many things. I'm like an octopus. I go that.
So your sort of place that you gravitate to for your
It's the
thing is
singing. It's the
now,
singing.
I was very fascinated when I read about the 2 musicals you first did, Hair and Jesus Christ Superstar. Now, as my first album of a musical was Hair, and I remember being so fascinated that all these things actually existed. I was living in India, so of course it was scandalizing for me to have.
Well, exactly. I was just going to say you were allowed to listen to those
No,
lyrics.
my dad never knew.
Really? Well, I tell you what, when I didn't know anything about hair because I grew up in Africa and I came to England after the Biafra War.
Yeah.
I came on holidays, really, for a strange reason. I was actually going to be a nun. Well, as a matter of fact, I joined the convent 2 weeks before Mother Superior realized that I was there for the wrong reason. And my dad sent me to England for 3 months to decide whether or not I really wanted to be a nun. And I ended up queuing at a theatre, which is Shaftesbury Theatre, because I thought I was going to Madame Tussauds. But it looked like Madame Tussauds because Hair had, you remember that colourful hair?
Of course.
And Madame Tussauds had colourful hair.
I see.
So in my mind, I just thought, I looked up and I saw this colourful head of hair and there's a long queue. So I thought, Madame Tussauds. And it was an audition. So when I got to the stage door, it was quite funny because I really didn't.
That is an amazing story.
It was like 2 hours of queuing because they were auditioning everyone, I think, in England, any young person. And I got to the stage door and I said, well, how much is it? The man said, it's an audition. I said, okay, how much is that? He said, I just didn't think he said, you don't pay, you sing. And I thought, gosh, that's brilliant.
I can do that.
This is very cheap. That's the first thing I thought as a student. You think, I'm liking this place. This is cheap. All I have to do is sing. You know, everybody sings in Africa. That's what I thought. So
You thought you'd sing for your supper.
thank you. You know, so I went in there, and you know what I sang? The Sound of Music.
Oh,
The hills are alive with the sound of music. And do you know what happened? They were looking for a soprano, and they had auditioned over 2,000 people, and no soprano would audition for her.
Right.
So I hit the highest note, and that's where I started. So you see, that's
So after
unbelievable.
all, you were a nun in The Sound of Music. That's as far as
Would you
got.
believe? Because in the convent, I saw that about 20 times. You know, when in doubt, play The Sound of Music. But it set me up, you know, it's kind of destiny.
And Jesus Christ Superstar to follow. You keeping the nun theme here, if I may say
Well,
so.
it's funny because the nun theme has followed my life.
MasterChef. Oh,
Oh,
let's go a different direction now. MasterChef.
MasterChef.
Do tell.
There's so much to tell.
I feel like I've known you forever, you know.
Somebody dropped out of MasterChef at the very last, literally 36 hours, and they wanted someone, and everybody said no. And I said yes, because I hadn't seen the show. Okay? Because seriously, television, if I switch on television, it has to be something not challenging at all.
Oh.
So I switch on and I watch football, because I'm a football crazy fan.
Are you? Who do you support?
News or football? Arsenal.
Oh, Arsenal.
So football or news?
Chelsea.
Oh dear. You see, this is where we part company. Excuse me, where's the police? No, you know, so I just thought, okay, yeah, cooking. How difficult can that be?
Oh, dear.
Oh my goodness. Well, the worst thing was I wrote a show, well, I've written a show, which I'm touring in 2018 and thereon, please God, called Billy and Me, about the life of Billie Holiday.
And the parallels
and
in your life.
Absolutely.
Yes, I read on that.
And this was my showcase. On the same day, I was doing Celebrity MasterChef.
Oh my
And
goodness.
they promised to get me, it was at the Pheasantry in Chelsea, and they promised to get me there in
beautiful.
time. Yeah, but my goodness, I didn't even get there to rehearse with the band, which 2.5 hours rehearsals. I only had 15 minutes with them. And I ended up in the hospital for 16 hours with severe dehydration.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
me.
but anyway, it was fun because I had no idea how intense this program was. No idea. And when I just thought, when I got there, I thought everybody had prepared. They'd had weeks of notice, they'd cooked, and some of them even had a book, one of them, and I went,
Oh, it's like being
I'm
in school
dead.
again when
I
there's some of
know.
those students with
I
all
thought,
that.
what have I done? I'm so dead. You know, this will be the end
So
of
you
my
went
career.
from MasterChef to Hell's Kitchen.
You know, I mean, you can imagine my cooking. Everybody's got this decorative, you know, little things. I'm going, oh my goodness, you could frame that. Mine is like curry lamb. Okay.
Sounds good to me.
No, absolutely. It was very tasty. And that's all you need. Anyway, when they announced that I was to leave, and I had said to everyone, please, could you sing so long?
Farewell.
Auf
Auf
Wiedersehen,
Wiedersehen, goodbye.
And so I just left and went, goodbye. And I got to the other side, I was told, you're not supposed to be happy. I went, oh, I am so sad.
I hate to go. Cannot tell a lie.
That's brilliant, Indira. That's fantastic. You're a woman after my own heart. You got to have fun. This
Absolutely.
thing, I didn't think that cooking could be so serious.
Well, you know what? You've been so educational, to say the least, and amazing to talk to.
Chatterbox.
Yeah, no. We shall have to catch up again very soon. But thank you so much, Patti.
Thank
for being
you.
on the
Thank
show.
you. It's
You
been
are
great
larger
fun.
than life and an amazing personality. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Indira. It's been great fun.
That's not all the magic for today, because coming right up now is an all-expense-paid holiday to sunny Florida for 1 month. Details to follow after this break.
Club isn't the best place to find a lover, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends at the table doing shots, drinking faster, and then we talk slow.
I have with me today another guest, Richard Hatfield, and I'm so delighted to have you on the show. Richard, your music, what can I say? Every time I see you,
I know.
with a microphone in your hands, we can never get to chat.
I know, you're always coming to a few gigs and stuff, yeah.
So tell me, has music always been your love?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's always been something, the thing I've always dreamt of doing. Apart from maybe rugby occasionally, I always fancied myself as a professional rugby player when I was younger, but music's always been through and through.
Yeah.
Did musical theatre from a very young age, and
really?
absolutely have loved jazz.
Yeah, I
God
know.
knows
I've
how
heard you
long.
at the jazz club.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you were wonderful, by the way.
Thank you very
really
much.
Were. That was an incredible evening.
Thank you.
I just, I have to touch on Collaboro.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and how did all that happen, and how did you get together with them?
it was fantastic. Obviously, we got together about a month before going on Britain's Got Talent. Wasn't to go on Britain's Got Talent in the first place, though. We just wanted to sort of put something together, you know, this musical theatre boy band. Anyway, we decided that we actually maybe have something worth, you know, showing to the world.
Yeah,
And we
it's
thought, what's the
amazing.
quickest way we can do that?
Yeah.
Britain's Got Talent. So we decided to go on that. 6 months later, we win the whole show, which was just obviously an incredible experience. And then, you know, we run into doing UK tours, #1 album.
Yeah, you had
all
two
that stuff.
#1 albums.
#1 album, #2 album.
Number
But
two,
yeah,
wow,
we lost out to
fantastic.
Florence and the Machine. But
but that-
I'm not going to beat myself up about that.
No, not at all. It seems to have opened enough doors.
I know, exactly.
But I mean, what was it like on Britain's Got Talent? It's really intimidating with the judges and.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think anything can kind of prepare you for that moment. Those high, I still don't think I'm that used to it, really. Like, those high pressure situations, you've got one song to prove yourself.
Yeah.
Whether you're in the Apollo in front of Simon Cowell or in a little local hall in your town or village, you know, if you've got one song to prove yourself, the pressure's on. You've got to get it right.
Yeah.
So I think regardless of the pressure and the millions of people watching, I think that's always going to be a big deal.
You have to do usually covers, isn't it, at these
Yeah.
places? So how does it feel now to be able to express yourself the way you want to express
I'm
yourself?
really enjoying it. To be perfectly honest, I never saw myself, it was never like a super passion of mine, especially in music. I've always loved recreating people's songs and bringing my own story to them.
Yeah.
But now being able to explore writing music is fantastic. I'm writing with some brilliant people.
Yeah.
Don Black, I've just been sort of discussing, who wrote Diamonds Are Forever and Ben and things like that.
Oh, wow.
He's been talking to me about a few songs. Also some fantastic producers out in New York. We've written some great music. So yeah, it's just working with the right people and sort
but
of
you
learning
know
off
when you
that.
meet them, don't you? You know when you first.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, jazz. Now tell me, your voice is made for jazz.
Oh, thank you very much.
It really
I genuinely think, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love musical theatre, but I love also grooving to those kind of jazz beats, whether that be a sort of a Latin samba or, you know, putting my spin on a swing, or even like including a little bit of funk and stuff. I really, really do enjoy that genre. I mean, you're talking about like Billy Eckstine, Johnny Hartman, obviously Ella Fitzgerald and Nat King Cole.
my
These are the kind
dogs-
of people I've
I'd
always...
name my dogs after musicians.
Oh, really?
I've got a Louis Armstrong, Ella
Oh,
Fitzgerald.
well, fantastic. Hey, you know too well. But I mean, that music, someone I've really been inspired by recently is Louis Prima, kind of does like a jump jive, which is kind of, I guess you'd say, like a sub-genre of jazz. And it's really interesting, his work, so I'm just sort of taking things from that at the moment as well. But just exploring that world of jazz has been fantastic. And now to be writing my own music is even better.
Now tell me about this new video of yours. We're going to see it.
Yeah.
So tell me about it before we see it.
Part and parcel of what I've been doing, obviously I come from a musical theatre background and being part of Collaboro, we have very much musical theatre fans. And obviously trying to transition them into jazz. I didn't want to like jump straight in with something completely obscure. So I started working on doing musical theatre numbers like Pink Panther, Phantom of the Opera, we infuse it with Pink Panther, do like a jazz version of Sunrise, Sunset and go into a walk. But basically that's now transferred into me taking pop songs and putting them into a jazz aspect as well. So with this song, this recent one I've recorded and released, it's Shape of You by Ed Sheeran, and I mix it in with Fever. When I heard the song, it just sort of came to me straight away, and we just infuse it, and then it's actually the bass line is actually Hit the Road Jack. So there's lots of other things that are
That's
just
one of the
infused.
best lines ever, isn't it?
What?
Don't you come back no more.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a great one. And what about reunion? Do you see yourself having a reunion with Calabro?
I don't think that's going to be possible. I think it's well documented how things ended, but I think we've all moved on.
Yeah.
And you know, best of luck to them in the future.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks, Richard.
Pleasure.
It's lovely to see you.
Give me fever. Oh, just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
Well, I'm going to pack up my troubles in an old kit bag and smile, 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 because I have three lovely ladies, the D-Day darlings. That's Katie. Hello. And there's Nicola and Charlotte. Hi. And they're here. Wow, what can I say? What an amazing concept. And how did you decide on this? I mean, you know.
Well, I wanted to do something in this era, and I thought it'd be wonderful to create something that not only gave entertainment, but that also kept such a poignant moment in history alive, really.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
what I wanted to do.
But I mean, that's the whole point of, Remembrance Days and things like that is, not to forget what people have been through.
Of course,
you know. And well, what is it about this era that everyone loves about the music?
It's morale building, isn't it?
It's
emotional.
It's got a message. I think when you listen to all of the songs, and I suppose we're lucky because we know all the words, backwards really, because we perform them all the time. But they've got such meaning, and it's it's about love, and keeping strong, and everything. We'll meet again, and I'll be seeing you. It's all very
And it's timeless.
Somewhere, sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a timeless song though, like it's timeless sound as well. People don't sing like that anymore.
Talking of sound, your harmonies are amazing. Absolutely wonderful. Who decides though what songs to sing?
Well, obviously there's a collection of songs that are the most popular of World War II, so we have to do those, and we have a musical director that arranges all of our harmonies for us, and then we get together.
Nice.
So they're well thought out. It's properly
Are you beyond rehearsals now, because you've been doing it for so long?
10 years in the making. We just rock up and do it now.
Yeah.
But
Oh gosh.
we occasionally throw the odd
Occasionally go wrong.
some more than
I
others.
think oh goodness me, no, really? I can't imagine. Do you ever?
Sometimes we make the odd mistake, but they just get their wages docked and it's fine.
What do you plan? Where do you plan to go with all this in the future?
Okay, so what we're trying to do at the moment is we're continuing to build the D-Day Darlings brand, and at the moment, as it stands to date, we have 10 girls on board that we perform all over the country,
Oh, I see.
nationwide. Every single week
10
we're out there.
uniforms.
10 uniforms, 10 sets of marchers, 10 salutes, and what I'm trying to do is keep building on that to build a real army of girls.
Real army of girls.
Yeah.
Real Air Force of girls as well.
Yeah, that will therefore keep the wartime memory alive for all those out there as well. And
You know,
keep it in
everyone likes a girl in uniform.
It is very popular. It's very popular.
So who comes to sort of the places you perform in? Are they all elderly or are they old ages?
It really is all ages.
Oh,
From
is
young
it?
children to
I
90-years,
remember
and
being
beyond.
taught all these songs when I was a kid. We used to sing it in the car when Dad was driving along. And we'd do, when we'd drive across the country in India, and we'd all sing "Pack Up Your Troubles," that kind of thing.
It is the good old sing-along songs though, aren't they? But I think it's particularly wonderful for us when we get real-life heroes attending our concerts,
But that's really actually heart-wrenching, isn't it, in a way, when you see how life has dealt cards. These people were, when I see pictures of them in their youth, and then you see what cards have been dealt to them in life, it's kind of really hard to accept that more need to be done for the people who fought for our country.
They are our heroes, really, because we wouldn't be here today without them.
Exactly.
Them.
Well, in terms of people want to contact you or book, and what kind of I mean, your websites, any details you can give us?
Yeah, so we've got our own website, which is ddaydarlings.com, and you can visit that and you can see where we're performing. We do theatre shows. We've got our own theatre musical called The Songs That Won the War, which is set in the 1940s.
Oh, lovely.
And it tells a story of life at that time. So it's using all the music as well within that concept, but we're performing that nationwide at theatres, concerts, British Legion events, everything. We're all over.
We're everywhere. Well, if you want, you know, what if you wanted to say something to the audience, anything at all, about yourselves, this is your moment.
Yeah, so we're the D-Day Darlings, and our mission is to recreate the music of the wartime era and keep the spirit alive and bring it into the new generation. So we want people to get behind our act.
Well, I won't dilly-dally, but I'll let you finish with a medley.
I like that.
So, let you take it away, girls.
Thank you.
This country is at war with Germany.
Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. While you've a Lucifer to light your bag, smile, boys, that's the style. What's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile. So pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. I'm looking over a four-leaf clover that I overlooked before. One is for sunshine, the second is rain. Third are the roses that bloom in the lane. No need explaining the one remaining. It's somebody I adore. I'm looking over a four-leaf clover that I overlooked before.
Well, hello, one and all. We are your D-Day darlings, and our mission is to recreate the atmosphere of the wartime era. We'll fill the air with morale-building spirit and sing to you the songs that won the war. Hey, darling!
Let the people sing. Run, rabbits, run, rabbits, run, run, run. Run, rabbits, run, rabbits, run, run, run. Bang, 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 bang goes the forest gun. Run, rabbits, run, rabbits, run, run, run. Run, rabbits, run, rabbits, run, run, run. Don't give the farmer his fun, fun, fun. He'll get by without his rabbit pie. Run, rabbits, run, rabbits, run, run, run. My old man says follow the van and don't dilly-dally on the way. Off went the van with me own packed in it. I want along with me old cock lid, and I dillied and dallied, dallied and dillied. Lost the van and don't know where to roam. You can't trust the specials like the old-time coppers when you can't find your way home.
Well, if you've enjoyed the show and you want to see more, then please contact the people down here. Thank you and goodbye.